Yo guys, what is up? Today I come to you yet with another weekly review of Starmyu Season 2, Episode 2. And in this week's episode, they explain to us what shadow and lights entail and what's to be expected of the second years who are trying to aim for the training roles. And we get more into Riku's character, which I will explain a little bit later, and explain kind of why I don't really like him all that much. So they explain what shadow and lights is more than what we've heard in last week's episode. And basically, this is a storytelling of two childhood friends who have faced a tragedy during their childhood. So we know that in these two roles, they are being played by Hiragi and Otori. Otori is playing Alexis, and Hiragi is playing Lambert. And as they tell what the story is, it takes setting within the 20th century London, and we have where Lambert and Alexis, as their childhood best friends, they were aiming when they get to become adults to become actors. But an incident happened where Alexis protected Lambert but got injured in the process. Now, when you see Otori, who was playing the position of Alexis, he wears a mask over his face, and that's to represent the injury that he got in during the fire. So it cut his career short, and instead now he has become a playwright, an obscene playwright, and people view him as mad, and Lambert is able to continue and flourish to become an actor in his later years of life. But of course, they emphasize what the shadow meant, and that's to mean an abstract existence within these two characters' hearts. And I put it as like the darkness that they have, the grief they have, because these two have dreamt of becoming actors together, but because of the incident that occurred that they were unable to prevent, it has crushed one of their dreams. So, you know, this is going to be an emotional and possibly very heartbreaking play. And as we know, the second years, when they become second years, they are given the chance to be put in the position of training roles for these acting stars. So, to get to the part that was scary, and I was thinking of it from last week, what happened was for each team they got this letter, this paper, and it was stating which role these characters, once they explain everything about the play, and they choose which character they feel like they want to best play based on, you know, their characteristics, and see if they can play that character very well on stage. And then they later shown, based on the role that they have chosen, each character from each team are picked for that role. So we have Team Otori, we have a character from Team Otori, Team Hiragi, Team Akatsuki, Yuzuriha, and Sazami. So these characters that were with their teams that we saw, especially from Team Otori and Team Hiragi from Season 1, they are not together. It's not like one team is going to be trying to play a role of this character. No, they're separated from their teammates, hoping that they get the role and play as in the training role of these characters of the graduating class. So it's competition, and that's to be expected, but I'm also scared at the same time of how this will go down, because when you think about it, say suppose a character from Team Otori was to get their part. Say suppose they were aiming for the role of Lambert Shadow, and they got their part. Who's to say the rest of his teammates will get their respective roles? And instead, it's another member from a different team that got the role. And it's not to say that they wouldn't support them, but they now lost so many opportunities, because as they stated back in last week's episode, they get the chance to become a Cow Council member. And also, they have so many opportunities to be scouted and sponsored by many musical, theater, and acting companies by the time they are ready to graduate from Ayanagi Academy. Of course, the coaches, I didn't get to mention, but the coaches, they introduce their names. If you did not catch their names last week, of course, Haruto is going to eventually pop up sooner or later, and the coaches are Taiga, Ritsu, and Asaki, and they were once students there, and they now are the alumni and the coaches of these teams. Now getting to the part where, you know, with Riku's character, Now, we know he is very talented, and we know from last week's episode he really looks up to Haruto. He views him as his god. And he's no different than Hoshitani, because when you think about it, Hoshitani originally went to that school because he admired Otori, his performance, just the type of person he was, and that's how he ended up enrolling in the school, just so that he could stand on the same stage as Otori. Now that can be said the same for Riku. Because he admired Haruto and he saw him on stage, he hopes one day he can stay on the same stage as him as well. And if it means using his younger brother as a propeller to do so, then he will do so. And I thought, okay, this guy is nonchalant, but he's very good. He's extremely talented, way more talented than Hoshitani, which is pretty obvious amongst everyone within the series, which Tengenji pointed out. But his arrogance, I was like, dude, where did this come from? He views himself as a god. He says so himself. I have a god in my body. I am perfect. And no one who is on the same level as him can stand on the same stage as him. They are below him. They are beneath him. He doesn't even look at Hoshitani as a threat. He doesn't even see him as someone that has the potential to be on the same playing field as him. He looks down on people because he's like, if you don't have the same skills as me, if you're not as talented as me, I don't talk to you. Bye. And I really don't like that about his character. I thought he would have been a little bit more humble, like, say, Hoshitani, because, they are in the same position. They're practically both the same characters, aside from their personalities and stuff, which could clash. But they are practically the same in terms of, getting into this school, and because they had someone that they admired, and they hope to, one day be able to share the same dream as those people. So it's a matter of how well these two characters will be able to go against each other. And the fact that for the people that are playing, aiming for the role of Alexis, is him, Riku, Kaito, and Rui from Team Hiragi. And remember, he's the leader of Team Hiragi. So it's a very competitive, and they're going to clash heads trying to get that role, for the training role of Alexis, in hopes that they can play on stage with who was it again? Otori, my bad, Otori. And also the fact that Haruto, when he used to be in that school and he was graduating, he played that role as well. So, definitely this is a spot that these three characters are looking forward to. So, it was an enjoyable episode. And of course, you can't dismiss the music, because, every single time, before when you turn your head, there's a song popping up. So if you guys saw this week's episode of Starmyu Season 2, Episode 2, do drop in the comment section below on how you felt about this week's episode, and how do you feel about Riku's character. What do you expect from him in terms of this season, and what are you hoping for from these teams, and who do you want to get these roles? Which characters do you want to get the various roles for this play? The links are in the description box as always. You guys go check that out. And I'm Kimmy Chan of Anime Legends Podcast, and I will see you guys later. Bye!